So I'm going to be sharing a series of experiences that I had on the Bruce Trail, and some of these are pretty scary. There was a lot of fear. I was afraid a lot of times. I just wouldn't admit it because, well, I would admit it to myself, however, I wouldn't get involved with it. So I'm just going to be sharing different clips. I'm just going to be sharing different videos and stories as a series of my Bruce Trail experience. The first one that I really wanted to share was the first time that it really started to have elements. I was coming up to Collingwood, which was about halfway, and this was when I started to fall. I started to go into a habit and a routine of running later at night. This first time that I started going, I remember I was in a forest. It was like a pine tree forest, and I was running. It had every single element that you could ever imagine. I started running that day. I remember getting up, seeing the forecast of rain, and that was the first day that it rained, and I was good for just about a week and a half, 2 weeks without rain. And this first time that it started raining, that night it was dark. I just remember there was fog, and I was running. It was foggy, and the rain turned into freezing rain. The trails were starting to be frozen. It started to get cold. As it got foggier, it was nighttime. The rain and the frozen trails, it was a mix of both. And then it started to snow at one point. There was snow somewhere in there, and I was wearing my mesh trail shoes, and I just remember running and that fear of me. I remember sitting in my tent knowing what was coming, knowing the rain was coming that day. And I just vividly remember checking my pack, and it was soaked. I was soaked, and it was like, this is kind of fun because I've never ran in this kind of environment before. I've ran in rain. However, I have a home to go to. I have food and bed. And that was the moral of the story of this journey that I went on. That it was just me. My parents would meet me every 3 days. Near the end, they started meeting me every 2 sometimes. And I had just a tent to go to. If I was afraid, I wasn't going to a safe bed with a fridge full of food. I probably burned 2,000 to 3,000 calories, possibly 2,000 calories within those ranges per day, depending on the day, how much I ran, what the hills were like. And I would go home in my tent to a protein bar, protein pancake, and a 500, sometimes 1,000 calorie what's the word for it? Preserved food, freeze-dried food, that's the word, which was amazing. I'm so grateful for those things. And that's what I was doing every single night. I remember looking back on videos, and that was like what I was looking for. I was craving that because that was the biggest meal of my day. And that night, I remember sleeping in the wettest as I had experienced up to that date. I was sleeping beside a river in the forest, and it was just coming out to a place I had visualized and seen so many times on my trip, that I was coming to this point. And I remember sleeping in this pine forest with water and the stream beside me, and everything was soaked, and I hadn't experienced that before. I remember just calling it a night because I was wet, and that experience stuck with me. Every single element: rain, fog, freezing rain, snow, sleet, and it just kept going from there. So that was one memory that vividly popped up, and there's going to be plenty that I'm going to keep sharing as a series. I hope you enjoy. I'm going to just be basically dumping my mind of these memories of this experience that I had, because they just keep coming to mind and I want to document them. So I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next video.